A joint committee on human rights has published a damning verdict after its legislative scrutiny of the government's illegal migration bill. The report, which runs to 154 pages, concludes that this bill breaches a number of the UK's international human rights obligations and risks breaching others. The committee found that it's overwhelmingly clear that the government's illegal migration bill breaches a number of the UK's international legal obligations, including the European Convention on Human Rights and the Refugee Convention, and it also risks breaching others. Now listen to this from the Prime Minister.
So we believe that our bill is compliant with the ECHR.
It was a statement made more than once by the Prime Minister as he appeared before the House of Commons Liaison Committee on March 28th.
So my belief is that the bill is compliant with the ECHR.
But that simply wasn't true. Sunak's illegal migration bill is a flagrant breach of the government's obligations under both the Refugee Convention and the European Convention on Human Rights, and the Prime Minister knows it. It says as much on the front page of the bill.
The bill, very unusually, on the cover, says the Home Secretary is unable to make a statement that the provisions of the illegal migration bill are compatible with the Convention rights.
And there's more.
In a letter to Tory MPs, the Home Secretary conveys the legal advice that there is a more than 50% chance the provisions may not be in line with the Convention.
The damning report published by the Joint Committee on Human Rights found that key provisions that fail to meet the UK's obligations include severely restricting human rights claims, broad detention and search powers, and denying protections to modern slavery victims.
So my belief is that the bill is compliant with the ECHR.
It's absolutely shameful. And just a few months ago, the Prime Minister was promising us this.
So one of my first jobs is to try and restore trust in government.
And that starts with being honest with people.
If that's not bad enough, the Prime Minister has been sending out members of his government to shamelessly repeat the claim that his bill, which he knows is a flagrant breach of the government's obligations under both the Refugee Convention and the European Convention on Human Rights, is actually legal.
As a barrister, you're condoning breaking the law, according to Amnesty International.
We're not breaking the law, and no government representative has said that we're breaking the law. In fact, we've made it very clear that we believe we're in compliance with all of our international obligations. For example, the Refugee Convention, the European Convention on Human Rights, other conventions to which we are subject.
We believe it to be legal.
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
That's why we're pursuing this.
Yeah. The government's view, and my view, is that our measures are lawful, that we are complying with our international law obligations, and that we are complying with obligations contained in the Refugee Convention and the European Convention on Human Rights.
It's utterly shameful. And remember this, human rights are universal. It's not up to this government to pick and choose who does and doesn't deserve them.